Hello and welcome to this episode of the Summer Sale Sampler. I'm Snub and today we're going to be talking about Bridge Constructor Portal, which is a somewhat odd name. You'd think they tried to preserve the branding of Portal, call it maybe Portal Bridge Constructor, but what do I know, I'm just a crayon eating retard on YouTube. So we've got it 20% off right now and it's made by Clockstone Games. I had to look up because I've never heard of them previously, and apparently they specialise in making mobile bridge builders. Apparently that is a niche that's big enough for a developer to exist in, so I guess they do have the expertise for this kind of game, so let's get into it. As is becoming standard, let's take a quick look at the art style. At first glance it's pretty simplistic. I think that's probably because it's on every platform known to man, including all mobile devices, and coming to a toaster near you soon. Nonetheless, the art is quite charming. I think that the little stick figure mans that make up your primary character base are really quite charming. I did get an affinity to them over my time playing, so it's different but it's characteristically Portal, and it's really quite nice. And what would any mention of Portal be without a mention of GLaDOS? She's really just as you would expect her to be. The characterization is completely on point. I can't complain about it. On any of the levels I saw so far. She still has that characteristic sadistic wit, complete with a dark humour that is somewhat iconic of the series. To more or less echo what I had to say about the art design, the music is very characteristically Portal. It's different of course, but it is still reminiscent of it. The only issue I do have with it is it can be a little bit repetitive, and as the levels get a little bit more challenging, a little bit more difficult, the small library of sound effects can become quite grating. I remember there was one level where at the very beginning there was a quite noticeably loud man cannon sound effect, so like a jump pad, and it played a couple of seconds into every single time I started a level, which was many times, and it got annoying. It's not like a deal breaker, but it was enough for me to want to mention it to anyone who gets easily triggered by that kind of thing. So once again, with our foray into the artsy part of the game, let's get back onto the nitty gritty a little bit. This is a physics-based bridge builder, of which there are many. I mean, my favourite one, not that I've played a great many of them, is World of Goo. I'm not sure how familiar most people are with it, but you know, it's what I was reminded of with the kind of presentation and the slightly humorous tone of the game. So if you've played that game and enjoyed it, you could probably shut the review right now, but I'd ask you not to, simply because I've got a few more things to say and it'd be nice to have some company. The first of those things I'd like to get onto is the UI. It's, as you can see in the gameplay footage that we'll be playing at various points throughout this video, it's small, it's understated, it's the same kind of UI that I like, and I do keep saying clean UI, but that's what it is. It's very simple, very easy to use, and there's nothing that I can complain about because it's barely there, which honestly a UI should probably be. The only issue I do have with the UI, or rather the performance of it, is that clicking and dragging little bridge pieces can be quite unintuitive. It can be a little bit annoying, but you know, that's a fairly small issue, and clicking and dragging is not a huge piece of the gameplay, which is odd given that the entire game is about manipulating bridges, but you know, that's how it is, I suppose. And if you've watched any of my other videos, then you'll know what's coming up next. After the UI, it's a tutorialization, which in this game, really foolproof. I can't complain about it. There's so few mechanics that the only thing that they give you really is the manual of best practices, as GLaDOS refers to it, and it's really great in-universe kind of explanation of how you get to tutorialization. I can't complain about it, it's great. It gives you every tool you would need to complete the game as far as I'm aware. And so on the topic of completing the game, let's talk about the game itself. How do you complete it? And you complete it by building a shitload of bridges. You build 60 bridges, of which, well, 60 levels worth of bridges, which is in reality many bridges. This game is stuffed with content. I've been playing it for like 10 hours and I'm maybe 2/3 through, which for a mobile game bridge builder is really good. I can't complain about that at all. And for a mobile game, it's actually harder, I found, than the main series Portal games. It starts very easy, obviously, because it's a puzzle game, but the complexity builds quite gradually, but still noticeably. And one thing that I did keep an eye out for when I was playing is whether or not I got that thinking with portals feeling. You know, that feeling where you kind of get into a groove with the game and you understand just what you're meant to do and how to do it. And that feeling definitely remains, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. Even if, you know, it is a small game, but there's still a lot of satisfaction to be had with how you beat the levels. That being said, however, there are some levels later in the game which typically are the ones which revolve around a lot of like air manipulation, kind of like bouncing things through the air, typically little forklifts that your little mans drive. I found that the levels which revolve around bouncing them around each other in mid-air can be a little bit too trial and error for my taste. A lot of quick resets just to make very, very minor and very unintuitive, really, changes to your little bridge layout. And fortunately those levels are fairly few and far between, but you know, it is worth mentioning if you get frustrated easily. You know, this is turning out a little bit shorter than I was really expecting, and I suppose that's because there is so little to this game that I actually need talking about. It's a game about portals. You know how portals work, you know how bridge building games works, because you know how physics works. I've covered the art and the sound just briefly, but there's not a lot to say about it, because again, this is a mobile game at its heart. It's an excellent mobile game, but it's still a mobile game. So the best thing I can do is leave with a few final thoughts, and of course a verdict on what I thought of the game, expressed very conveniently as a number of crayons. You know, this game released to, as far as I'm aware, very little acclaim. Not many people noticed it. God knows that when I saw it come out on the Steam page, I thought, oh, what is this garbage? Has Valve sold out their only worthwhile IP at this point? But in the spirit of the summer sale and trying new things, I went in expecting garbage, and you know, I got something good. I got something that I'm actually going to keep playing as soon as I'm done recording this. So ultimately that's a pretty big compliment when you think about it. I quite frequently find myself going in, playing a single level, maybe 2 levels, and just being done. It's really nice to just have something you can pop in, pop out, just casually play, and that's I think why it makes a really good mobile game. So I would actually recommend getting this on a mobile device over your PC, which is a first for me, honestly. This game won me over, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 crayons, simply because, you know, I'd give it more, but it is still a mobile game, it's still fairly limited, but it's fun, it's definitely worth the price. I encourage you to go pick it up, either on your PC, or on whatever little mobile device you feel like playing on. I mean shit, maybe you can get it on a smart fridge at this point, who knows, technology is amazing. As always, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate anything that you would like to do to support this channel, even something as simple as leaving me a comment and letting me know what you like or what you'd like me to do instead. Be sure to check out the commentary-less gameplay linked at the end of this video. Thank you and goodbye.